Most brands, especially in the affiliate space, are trying to move away from discounting, or at least they're saying that. Some of the biggest brands in the world, they don't even have new customer tracking on their affiliate program. But he sees that as just his play money almost, like that's just cash. We're the only channel as well that gets penalised. What other agency that works outside of affiliate goes back to Google and says, oh, by the way, someone else played a role in this. Can we get a rebate?
There should never be one voice for an industry.
Every marketing channel is pretty much an affiliate now. But have we moved forward? They shut the affiliate program and like 80% of the traffic and the sales didn't reappear.
Wait a second, we're taking part in this event, but we're going to be helping sharpen the pitches of other agencies then.
So everything we do is algorithm driven. So we kind of remove the human bias of, I think this will work, because that's just what I think. But actually, customer data and behaviour data is way more important. Publishers making pennies on the pound. The network model is pennies on the pennies. You have to do a lot of volume to make good dough.
So many characters in the industry.
The industry is mad. You don't get the mix of people in any other industry at all. I don't believe so anyway. I think like the retail media events we go to, they're so watered down and like suits kind of vibes. And then you go to digital marketing in general. Even MadFest, which is meant to be like this crazy approach.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You go to
I've been to
Live
MadFest in my previous life, and MadFest it's cool, but it's just in that kind of like network agency, enterprise brand, enterprise publisher, sort of like wanky Charlotte Street scene.
Yeah.
It's not really the real, like, it's not.
What's mad about it?
What's mad about it? Probably the price.
Yeah.
The
fact you can't get in.
You
like
can't get in.
Manchester last year, I didn't get in until 1. Got there at 9. Couldn't get in.
Well, queue.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's a cool event. It is a cool event. My mate called me up yesterday and he goes, "Are you going to, what was it called? I'll find it." He goes, "Are you going to so and so event?" And I was like, I don't even know. No, it's not on our radar. And then I was like, yeah, so it's not on our radar. Advertising Week Europe. Okay, it's pretty. Advertising Week's obviously pretty big.
Yeah.
But are you going to Advertising Week Europe? No, I'm like, no, it's not really that's not really on our radar. Like Liv, our head of sales, planning all the events and stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that mentioned. If it's worth going, she'll be there. And he calls me up. We were in between podcasts, and he went, "Can you talk, mate?" I'm like, "Yep, I can." Like briefly, we're waiting for a guest.
Yeah.
He goes, "This event, man." I'm like, this is unusual for him. He works for Microsoft.
Okay.
He works for a gaming part of Microsoft. You know, the Cat Mix Candy Crush?
Yeah.
And I've never heard him this excited about an event. He's not directly in sales either. Anyway, it transpired that Gigs and Tiny Temper were performing.
No way.
I told him, "Listen, we're not going to be going to an event
Just because of that.
Gigs and Tiny Temper are performing.
Yeah.
That sounds like Cannes. That sounds like MadFest. That sounds like the event where big companies go to fucking throw it around, right? Chuck it around."
Yeah.
I said, "It doesn't sound like it would have much of an ROI for us."
No. But then again, like there are events that do have those kind of guests that they probably do. So like OMR is one of those mad ones, online marketing rock stars in Hamburg.
Right.
It's batshit crazy. I would only compare it to like probably 4 or 5 football stadium sized halls.
Really?
And then they had like last year Kim Kardashian talking like on stage about like her business and all this other stuff. And literally like the scale of it, I remember the first time I went, I was like, I can't work out what's going on here. My brain couldn't digest just what I was looking at.
What's it called?
OMR.
OMR.
It's a German, so it's in Hamburg, but it's English speaking first.
Yes.
And it's pure international.
But like, if we're like, you're maybe a bit more broad, and especially up at the enterprise, but we're more specialist in kind of mid-market, and mid-market can go quite big still. But like mid-market D2C brands, e-commerce and travel and leisure brands, how much business is there to be done at those kind of places with the likes of that?
The publishers are there.
The publishers are there. Sorry, I'm looking at it more. That'd be Jamie's and his team's bag on delivery. But for me, I'm always looking at like client sales.
Yeah.
So how much actual client sales do you think is to be done at somewhere like that?
Well, I guess the answer I would say is also that when you go to these events, it's not necessarily the actual event itself. So like there's Dealmaker this week, right, where everyone's going to be listening to the talks, and you can hopefully take away some proper actual actions that you could do as a person in an affiliate team that day. Whereas those events, it's more about like what's going on around it, like the halo effect of seeing the right people, speaking to them, making friendships with the right publishers, because that's our industry. That's what affiliates built on. So you can speak to those publishers that you might not have even got in front of ever before, and then kind of like carry it on. So I think there's probably twofold. I mean, yes, listening to Kim Kardashian talk about how she built a beauty brand off the back of whatever videos that she's done previously, like that's interesting. But actually,
do you guys do shop talk?
Yeah, Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah, so we're going. I went last year. We're taking like 10 this year.
Right,
Cool. Yeah, we
okay.
went hard. It was actually a really, really productive event last year.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we found the meetings were really popular just because I think brands have really pushed into those meetings. So like, you have to get involved.
So that's the kind of event that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Because I know it's got like long tail, mid-market, actual e-com decision makers there.
Yeah.
So Liv and Ed are going to be at Barcelona.
Mhm.
We came out. Where was we? We was at like PI Live, that one-off PI Live in Miami last year.
Oh, yeah.
That they're never doing. I think they're not doing again.
Yeah.
We were there, and everyone was saying, "Oh, bro, you got to go Shop Talk Vegas."
Yeah.
Like that is. I think he might have been a little bit drunk. The guy I was talking to, maybe exaggerating. But he was like,
Probably.
thousands and thousands of retailers. And it's not tons of affiliate agencies there because it's a generalist e-com brand event. So you can really kind of do some business there.
That's what we found both when I was at WebGains and now at Sovendus, is that the affiliate events are fantastic for seeing the same people, having the conversations with brands you've already spoke to, re-engaging them.
Yeah.
But actually, if you want to break away from the same narratives, those e-commerce events where actually we end up flying the flag for our channel and actually probably a little bit more education. What is affiliate? What do we do in the affiliate world? Where do we fit in? So we did Retail Media X last year and SubX, because it was just like, okay, we fit into as a company like the affiliate channel, but we also kind of run parallel to it. So those events are really interesting to speak to people. You're right, completely. Like going outside of affiliate sometimes from a sales point of view, a new biz point of view, makes way much more sense.
Well, one extreme example of that is I went to the Spring Fair. You know what the Spring Fair is? So it's a massive, I mean, you talk about that full football pitch thing that you saw. This was like the NEC in, is it Birmingham, the NEC?
Yeah,
the NEC in Birmingham. I don't know how much of it was taken up with this thing, but a lot of it, they were like, I'm probably going to exaggerate here, but there was about a dozen halls, maybe half a dozen halls.
Wow.
And their halls are like aircraft carriers that were filled, and it was by category. So garden, and then there was like home, and there must have been, thousands, if not 10,000 stands of every company that is making something. And they're mainly looking, I think they're looking for buyers, resellers, wholesalers, that kind of stuff. So it's more of there's going to be the sort of merchandising and the buying teams and that kind of people there. But you get to see all the up and coming brands, but so it's like finding a neat. So we sent our team there last year. I went there once when I was consulting, and I was like, this is unbelievable because it's nothing to do with marketing.
Yeah.
All of the brands, a lot of them though are very, very small. So some of them will be like selling on eBay and Etsy.
Yeah.
And then just to wholesalers, and you've never heard of them, and their D2C business is non-existent. So if you're the kind of affiliate agency, which we're not, who's got a big strategy on getting small, tiny brands to launch their first affiliate program, you would absolutely
pure volume.
clean up there. So because you would probably sign up hundreds. But if you're trying to find some that have actually got a decent foot in the D2C, out of the sort of 10,000 that were there, you'd probably have to go and, kiss about 1,000 frogs to get a dozen leads.
But I had that with the white label. I did a white label expo, which was like fascinating. So I thought I'd find like a few businesses that would at least like mid-tier. And it wasn't. It was just people selling. It was like drug dealing conference, which is white bags or like clear bags of like, you can sell these pills, you can sell these. It was always CBD. Here's how you just rebrand it to your own. You buy it from us and then just package it and send it off. And you could clean up if that was what your business was. You wanted to do 2 sales a month and then, charge them a flat rate and hope they don't, the gym model, hope they don't remember. Keep paying their invoices.
Any business built on breakage, and there's a lot of those in our industry.
Yeah.
Any business built on a breakage model is just not a good business.
No.
I'm going to go into your intro.
Yeah, let's start, shall we?
Welcome, Jack. Jack Davies. You're the head of partnerships at Sovendus.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Marketing of Milkshakes. I'm going to give a little intro to Sovendus, which is one of the biggest brand partnerships and checkout monetization businesses in Europe.
Yep.
You've got roots in Germany, going back 17 years. And Sovendus now works with over 3,000 brands.
Yeah.
Including Just Eat, Trainline, HelloFresh. You reach 60 million users a month.
Yeah.
You sit at that intersection between affiliate, retail media, on-site monetization, and customer acquisition. And Jamie wrote this bio.
Yeah.
What makes Sovendus especially interesting is that it's not just another affiliate story. It's a business helping brands turn post-purchase real estate into performance monetization channel. So in other words, you help brands make money from their site that drops straight on their bottom line.
Yeah.
Helping other companies, non-competitors, to drive sales.
Yeah.
And vice versa, which is pretty cool.
Good intro. Work for us.
Yeah, right now the company's scaling hard. We've seen it from RevWise. From our perspective, the UK team is up to 15 people. The growth's been triple digits year on year. And your ambition's obviously much larger than just being another player in the affiliate ecosystem. You're Jack. You're someone who's quite well known in our industry. That's what we're talking about. Everyone knows each other. You've been around, and we believe we got you on because we know you're going to have actual opinions about the space. Obviously, we'll talk about Sovendus, and I want to be educated even further. But you entered the world through the Hut Group.
Yep.
You worked on MyProtein.
Yep.
You went to Boohoo Man.
Yeah, I did.
They've had a lot of me they've had a lot of cash off me in the recent years.
Yeah. Same.
Then Fanatics.
Yeah.
Then you helped to build out Web Gains in the North. And now you're at Sovendus, heading up partnerships. So what's interesting about your story is you've seen it from brand side, you've been at the network side with Web Gains. Now you're in a sort of, what do you guys call yourself, a tech partner, brand partnership network.
Publisher side, I guess, from an affiliate point of view, yeah.
So you've got a really well-rounded sort of like view and experience in affiliate. So we're looking forward to jumping into, we've got topics, but we'll probably go massively off-piste and just see where it takes us. But we're looking forward to picking your brains. It's great to have you on.
Yeah.
What do you think of your intro, mate?
From a Sovendus point of view, you should probably work for us. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because I think like with our space, like brands around partnerships as a sort of buzzword at the moment is so prevalent. I think there are some partners that do it really well and explain it really well, and it's like parallel to affiliate, so it kind of works in the same way because it has the same pricing strategy and also from a commercial point of view, it works the same, CPA based. And we have the similar sort of like terminology that we use, but actually it sort of sits outside of that realm as well in terms of retail media space. So yeah, it's a pretty good intro.
So for the layman's, like for us as well, I think it would be good to get a better understanding of, like, simply put, what does Sovendus do?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of touched like there. Post purchase, we sit in that customer journey. The customer has finished transaction. They've had their order ID. They've probably seen their phone flash up if they've shopped on their desktop saying your order, email, confirmation, tracking, all that kind of stuff. And typically then the customer just gets off. That's it. It's like 90% of the users are gone within like 34 seconds of actually hitting that page. So they're done. They're dead to you as a brand. At that moment in time, like they're done in that shopping journey. They're not going to come back to homepage and then make another purchase because they've not received their goods yet. So what we do is add further value there. So monetization point of view from the host side of things is if you're the brand, you can offer your users a free reward, free gift. Brands like Wine52, Beer52 will offer a free case or just pay shipping. Customers happy, they get a nice free additional bonus. And obviously you as the host will get paid a percentage of whatever the reward is paying out, which is the CPA basis. That's the offer-led, commission-based performance. So we do both of those.
So so a brand can monetize, real estate that they weren't previously monetizing, but also you're feeding other brands new customer acquisition.
An example of this would be this morning to come into London. I bought Jamie and I bought our train tickets.
Yeah,
and I used Trainline, the app.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's web only or app that you're on, but you guys, they're a host for you.
Yeah.
So you get the language right. So you call someone a host if they are.
Yes.
So it's supply and demand, isn't it? Because like I come from the ad network space where demand is your advertisers. They're buying clicks, and supply is your publishers that you're selling their clicks.
Yeah.
And supply is the most important thing normally because most of your demand, if you get good demand, it should be uncapped.
Always,
largely uncapped. So there's no budgets, like fixed budgets. So you get a good set of demand on board, you run it uncapped. Mm-hmm. Really, the business grows by growing the supply. Yeah. So the most important thing the actual growth lever for the business is more supply.
More supply. Yeah.
So if you can get on MyProtein's checkout page, that's a big win, right? If you can get on Trainline's checkout page, that's where the growth's coming from. And the reason why is because the host, who's the supplier, is giving traffic.
Constant traffic
to the, what do you call them? The merchants?
But this is why it's interesting because like from an affiliate point of view, advertisers are brands and then publishers are like the top cashbacks and whoever else. And then it kind of swaps when we then speak to people like, no, you're the publisher in this case. And then, but we want to be an advertiser. And it just gets so confusing.
So Trainline is the publisher.
And they're the host in our, and that's what we say. They host our banner. They host our product. That can look a number of different ways. So as you said there, the app integration might be different to the web integration. Timings as well. So if you book a train within a certain time, so if you're within an hour of your train, we might not even show because the user's probably not interested in that. We have an incredible integration with a payment provider in Netherlands called Tiki. So going Dutch is obviously a very common phrase, right? But it's really legit. It's a legit thing that happens. It's a cultural thing, I think. So say we go for dinner, you owe me 20 quid, I'll send you a Tiki and it integrates through all the banking app.
A cheeky Tiki?
Cheeky Tiki, yeah. And you would send that money to me via Tiki.
Got it.
thank you for your payment. Here's a reward.
Like a Venmo in America.
Essentially, yes, exactly. And it's so incredibly scalable from our side. They decide how much they want to open that up. But equally, we won't do that between the hours of probably 4 and 6. People are driving. They're sending tiki's. We probably shouldn't be showing them anything else. We don't want to be interrupting that driving situation. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. And we see, obviously, from our side, performance drop. So let's not show it then. Same goes for Trainline.
They're wasting real estate.
Just wait. Yeah, exactly. So we can be really smart with how that shows.
Nice. So I booked on Trainline this morning. I did, as always, book last minute Larry.
Yeah,
so I probably didn't see it. But had I seen it, what would I have seen? I bought my train ticket.
Yeah.
I can add it to my Apple Wallet.
Yeah.
Right. And it's somewhere on the confirmation thank you page.
Yeah. Thanks for your train ticket booking. Here's some rewards. Pick a reward, and it could be something specific. So based on where you booked from, could be Nando's offer. Could be something like in so.
What kind of Nando's offer? I know that was probably an interesting example, but
it might just be like extra chilies, something like that. For
Nando's need to bring back. I'm going to take us off piece here, but I'm old school and I'm like 36. And I was saying to somebody who was in Nando's recently, when Nando's first became like a cool like place that was popping up everywhere. I was working at the Guardian in King's Cross. And there was a Nando's like a few doors down.
Yeah,
we used to go there for lunch like almost every day, and you had literally a physical piece of card. This would have been late 2000s, so like 2009, 2010, maybe 2010, yeah. And you did like a piece of card. Do you remember these days?
Yeah.
And you get stamps. Like old school.
But that would have been when Nando's cost you probably like £6.
Yeah, when you actually collected like, say it was 10 stamps, you got an entire free chicken.
Yeah.
You didn't get cash back to spend in the thing, you got a whole chicken. So we would all go from work, share the card, and then within every couple of days, like a group of 4 or 5 of us were going, and then by the Wednesday, we'd have a whole free chicken, baby.
Yeah.
And we'd be sharing the chicken. They shut that down. And I can see why. Because they probably were
running that business,
getting absolutely murked.
But they have the chilies now, which is not far off that, but it's just a digital version of it, right?
Oh, so that's what you're saying when you said you get some chilies.
Yeah, so it might be that normally you only get one when you spend over a certain
chilies
amount.
Is like points. I didn't want to crush what you were saying, but when you said, you get some like free chilies.
You get like on the side. Yeah, that's crap.
Some free chilies, that sucks.
Yeah, so it's essentially, it's a value add proposition. So where do we add value to the customer? Where do we add value to the host? Most brands, especially in the affiliate space, are trying to move away from discounting.
Yes.
Or at least they're saying that.
They are. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. So it's how do you add value? Is it a free gift with purchase? With a lot of the brands that we work with, they're subscription based. So they can actually gift quite a lot of margin on the first order with the view that if the lifetime value is pretty good, they can actually subsidize that loss leading approach.
Do you work with Freddie's Flowers? So Freddie's Flowers is a client of ours, probably you know.
Yeah.
And they're a huge advocate champion for gift with purchase.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the podcast we did with James.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made it work really well, but it wasn't without, he's a really smart operator and sort of a numbers guy. And so he's had to do a lot of optimization, I think, on that, but he now sees it as a major, major channel for them.
But you've got to be smart with the numbers and look at it and say, okay, even if we lose on X amount of our customers, the ones that we then keep for a year, we make X amount of margin. You said it on the podcast with Adam Ross about some brands that sell that sell in shops, how much they then make on D2C for the back of it. If you look at the numbers that way and then you look at the numbers from a subscription basis, it's quite easy to do. You just got to look in the data and know what you're looking for. And so for us, a lot of our brands, Groom, Beer 52, Wine 52, Freddie's Flowers, they'll do that. Virgin Wine. Yeah.
Yeah, we know Groom actually, Andy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
So with those brands, they know what they can give away and it's a pure value add for the user that goes, oh yeah, I get a box in the post, and they forget about it sometimes, and it comes and it's like, oh yeah, and for the host, there's the benefit of being paid out for that initial reward, but also it's that value add. Like I got that thanks to Trainline. They enabled that.
Yes, that's good. Adding value without discounting.
Yeah,
totally agree. The cash is probably the deal breaker
for sure.
So they're getting like, I'm going to make it up, but let's say they're getting, £10 CPA, is that a bit high?
Yeah.
Or is that...
No, I mean, it's not.
Okay, let's say they're getting £10 CPA, and how many like orders can a major retailer do a month for?
So I mean, we don't work with anyone that does less than 10,000 a month, but when we're talking as a whole, because obviously it's just pure volume basis.
What can they do through Sovendus?
In terms of revenue?
Like how many sales could they do? Like how many offer?
As an average offer, probably 300 to 400 for a normal bang average CPA, bang average offer.
So they might be making like 5 to 10 grand extra.
And we're looking at pure new customers. So we're the only publisher that will actually say, okay, we've not seen this customer before, and therefore it's a new customer.
Yeah.
We'll only push a new customer offer, and you only have to pay on that new customer. So I think our new customer percentage is like 94%. And the reason there's 6% in there is that some brands like to do a re-engagement piece. We haven't seen this person for X amount of time. We'll allow them to come back. Some brands just do purely like, we've not seen you, a lapsed customer approach. So
what was someone like, I shouldn't name names, but like, let's say like Nike or Holland and Barrett or bloody, I don't know, one of the top 100 retailers popped Sovendus on their checkout, or any gift for purchase kind of like similar platform on the checkout. What sort of revenue would they be earning?
Well, so we would always work on like a revenue per meal. So it's RPMs. So revenue per 1,000 impressions. And so in Europe, we're the market leader based on the scale we have. So we have people that go out and find the best paying offers with the best brands. So Freddie's Flowers, we would go to market and say, as of recording now, we have the best offer with the best payout. So therefore we can boost that. So we're looking at probably about 150 to 160 pounds per 1,000 impressions. And when you compare that to programmatic revenue that people put on their site, well, that's like 15, 16, probably more times the revenue there. So then you times that by however many millions of transactions.
Impressions are impressions at checkout.
Yep.
So these
post-checkout.
Post-checkout impressions. So they have to have been orders, right?
Yep.
So the retailer, so good retailer for you guys maybe is someone that's getting a ludicrous amount of orders because their AOV is quite low.
We'd rather do one brand that does 1 million £1 orders than one £1 million order. Because it's volume.
They're doing 100,000 orders a month, let's say.
Yeah.
Do you have any at that level?
So yeah.
They're making, what did you say the CPM was, or the RPM?
RPM about 150, 160. We've got about 150 for simplicity.
Quick maths, anyone?
No chance.
15, 20k,
Yeah.
15 was a, no, it's more than that, yeah.
It's 100 grand, isn't it?
Yeah, my maths is...
Yeah, my maths is cool. Yeah, I used to work in
right.
ad networks, and I could do these numbers really quickly. So literally just divided by 1,000.
But divided by 1,000 times. That. But the other thing to that, the other parts of that is it's completely margin free. So it's it's on-site real estate that's not being used.
Yeah. So
and
that's
it's not costing you anything.
That's dropping straight onto their bottom line as 100% profit. That's what I was kind of getting to. I thought you give me a number like, the big one could do like 20 to 50 grand, let's say, but that's 100% pure profit.
So we were doing a forecast for a top grocery store chain, and they worked with a partner, and they were saying like we're really like, the CEO is a bit cagey because like we're looking at £2 million a year ish. But he sees that as just his play money almost. Like that's just cash. It's free cash money that is there, it pays for the golf days, it pays for whatever. And that's, as you say, just drops on the bottom line. There's no associated cost with it. There's nothing tied to that spend. There's no spend, tied to that at all.
And there's no risk of it hurting their conversion rate because the customer's already converted.
They're done.
So what's the resistance you typically come up against when you're pitching? Having
brands on the checkout itself. So in any way, shape or form, having one other brand on there. I think there's still that like closed-mindedness of, do we want someone clicking off the page? But I think if people are really realistic about, they are clicking off already. They're not sticking around. I think that's one. And that's why then the Sovendus voucher network works really well. So we have like two integrations. One is you see the brands there and then. So you see the grooms, you see the Freddie's Flowers offers, you click on them, you can redeem them there and then. You don't really need to leave the page in some instances. You can actually just complete the sign-up process there in page.
Like an iframe?
Pardon?
Like an iframe?
Yes, exactly.
So this is, because you mentioned the word voucher there, but it's probably good to sort of understand and tell the listeners that this is actually a closed user group in all its forms. Yeah.
So then the second form is that we have like a banner that says, hey, thanks for your order. There's some rewards here. And then the user clicks, they land on our single-use dynamic URL. That is a closed user. You cannot share that with someone else. If I send this to you, Gary, you wouldn't be able to then click that link. It wouldn't work. Equally, I can't get back through my history. Once I'm out, I'm out. And that allows us to go to brands and also say, like, give us the best offer. Because it's a closed user, we compare ourselves and therefore it's like the blue light cards and so on. The only difference being is the only way in is by making a purchase. So I can't use my mum's NHS email address to get in and then get an offer, which I don't deserve, but it's purely locked down. And then once the customer goes through, I think the interesting bit of data here is we see 50% of our users then actually transact with the second brand. So having just purchased, click through, browse the offers, within 5 minutes, 50% of our users then actually make a purchase from the second brand. The other 50% via email. So when we've actually said, oh, by the way, you requested that offer, don't forget. But that's actually massively skewed by average order value. So we have travel brands where people have to go, better ask the missus, better not book that holiday just yet, or piece of furniture, better just check. If you take that out, it's an astoundingly high number of people that just go, yeah, I'll buy.
I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Freddie's put a post-checkout offer on there. They became a host. I don't know if they are or not. But let's say they were. Could someone buy from whatever, one retailer host, then go click through to Freddie's, buy that, hit with another offer?
Yeah.
They'd be there all day just going...
just spending with us. We'd be laughing. They could.
Hole.
But the beauty is that if they're trying to then go back to the brand that they've just bought from to buy again, they're not new. We've seen them. So again, it's only new brands that they're going to be shopping with. But yeah, completely. They could be,
Interesting.
Well, I mean, enough brands out there. Well, you've clearly done a good enough job over the last few years, you and the team, of pitching it in the right way for brands to, pick it up and start, partnering with you. Because in the UK, you've grown hugely in the past few years. I remember when we were just starting out, and I was in touch with Pete. Actually, said this to you the other day. It was just starting out for Sovendus in the UK as well. Obviously, you had it was based in Germany. You got the whole operation there. But ever since, it's triple-digit growth year after year, right?
Yeah, I'm trying not to smile because I don't want to give Pete any credit here because Pete would just his head would be too big. He won't be able to
Pete's your founder?
No, so Pete is our UK MD.
Right.
So he's been here. I think he's been there 3 or 4 years now. So literally, as the UK kind of really built properly. So in Germany, it's been around for 16, 17 years. Saturated that market big time. I actually still don't know necessarily what Sovendus means. I don't think anyone really does. I thought it was Latin maybe or German, but it isn't. But it's really well known. So they have all the top players, or they've at least spoke to those top players, done something with them. And so then they sort of branched out into all the other territories, built up. And to be honest, there's new markets now that we'll be looking at in probably a year, 2-3 years' time. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you get that ball rolling? Because there's the input and the output. There's the sink and the source from our side that we call it internally. So the source traffic and then the sink output. But you need to get enough people to sort of buy in without seeing any results off the bat to then start that work. But yeah, so Pete really got stuck in, hired Verena. So they both worked at V Global, which went out of business. And then I joined 18 months ago. And we're just building the team out. So that we're up to I think it's 12, 14.
In the UK?
Maybe. In the UK.
And then in Germany and the rest of the world, how big is it?
I think it's about 300 people now.
200-300 people.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big business. I mean, in the intro I said 15, but it's obviously part of a much bigger.
Yeah, but I still think it's ran quite lean for the scale of the business. I think when you look at the numbers, you're like, wow, okay, that's actually pretty impressive. And obviously we're backed by a PE called Paragon. So obviously we've got then a board that we had to go to and say, yes, we are doing those triple-digit growth figures. The year started incredibly well. We signed Trainline off the back end of October.
Is that exclusive?
Yeah, so they're doing really well. Exclusive brand partnerships.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. And we've got, the pipeline at the moment, everyone's pipeline looks fantastic, doesn't it?
Pipeline means nothing.
Pipeline means nothing. It's because your last sale, right?
We've got a head of sales, Liv, who I don't know if you've met, but she's incredible. And so I'm stepping away a bit more now, but I've been in the sales of Redwise, and then I've also been in sales in general for about 16 years. And even I still just such a sucker. I'll come off of a call, or I'll be look at an email and I'll call up Jamie and go, 99%.
Yeah.
and they don't exist. There's no such thing as 99%.
No. It's just noise now.
And you never hear back, and then they dose you for
how many 99%ers have I had die on me?
It just
so going back to Pete, MD, UK MD, solved the very different... I know this from experience. You're basically an ad network.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially, supply and demand.
Yeah.
Starting any kind of network that's supply and demand, there's a chicken and egg dilemma, which you touched on there. It's you've got to, normally what happens is you supplement one or the other to get the thing off the ground.
Yeah.
If you've got no buyers and no sellers, you have to basically, run one of them at a loss to get it going. Do you know which one it was?
Not a Scooby-Doo. So I think to be fair, off the back of that was that we had a lot of brands that were, say, German, French, Spanish, Dutch, who had UK presence in some way, shape or form, which I think was the sort of big brother, little brother.
Yeah, so you supplemented the supply by bringing in
German so many brands say to us, are you in the US? And we're just not. As a company, we're not in the US. And Australia, there's a couple of brands that do what we do, but I don't really think to the scale that we could achieve. It's just not yet on the priority. But the UK has still such a blue ocean of brands that we should be working with.
Yeah. We're going to put you in touch with some.
Yeah.
Do you have Voucher? If you spoke to Voucher?
Yes.
Cool.
Can't say too much about that. But yes,
we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah,
I think they've got a lot to offer.
Yeah,
this kind of model.
They do.
But yeah,
they
cool.
do.
Yeah, we won't turn this into an agency.
Let's just start pitching people now. Like they're not even in the room. We'll just...
Let me pull up our clients. So back to Pete then. So he gets no credit, right?
No, none at all. He did actually sign Just Eat, and they've literally just like agreed to sort of expand a little bit further. So that's a really exciting one for us.
But that was a fluke, probably.
Fluke.
Yeah.
Just right person, right time. No sales prowess. No, Pete, I listened to Pete talk, and to be honest, like it took me probably 3 months to understand the commercial proposition of Sovendus properly. Genuinely, I think I came in looking at it purely from an affiliate point of view, and I think that's what I've tried to do a lot more now. And on LinkedIn, and when I speak to people, it's trying to just open the horizons a little bit more to like what other commercial propositions look like, because I honestly didn't get it. Like I sold affiliate networks. And then before that, I didn't even sell. So going from that to that, I kind of looked at it in just a very black and white view. And I would look at it as sort of, these are the two products, they are the commercial. And if it doesn't work for you, then sorry, that's it. Like that's how this works. And then you think, oh, hang on a minute. No, you can plug that in there, but actually commercialize it very differently. And it took me probably 3 or 4 months of working with Pete to really understand that. But he's come from like a very different background to me. So actually learning from him as to, you know, how to problem solve and even just small things like design, just mocking up designs quick time. I thought I was okay at that kind of thing, but just, flipped a switch a little bit. So, he's one of the biggest pains in my arse, but he's really, really switched on.
So what were the benefits of Sovendus using affiliate networks in the beginning and you know, now?
Yeah, it's the cure and cause of a lot of issues. Is affiliate, right? I mean, I love the industry, I came from it, but at the same time, I think because of that nature of people seeing the world in one way, which is just pure play affiliate, it's really hard to then bring to life something that's a little bit bigger or slightly like parallel to what they're doing. So affiliate works really well because the commercial model is very much the same. We speak in the similar language. I compare it to like dialects. Like I'm speaking in English and then they're speaking Scouse, which is not English whatsoever. But I think you've got these similarities. So everyone that works with Freddie's Flowers, they work with us and they pay as a CPA-based promotion that goes into the network. So that's perfect.
Yeah, you're a publisher.
Easy.
100%.
But then when you speak to an affiliate person about hosting, typically that actually represents a massive ball ache because they have to go speak to tech and to product and to brand. And it becomes a little bit of a blocker. Whereas they could go to another voucher partner or another cashback partner and very easily negotiate without having to then go to
generating revenue as a publisher is not the mandate of an affiliate manager. Yeah. So I can see I didn't realize that's what you were talking about, but yeah, completely. Of course, you're going to not get anywhere with affiliate managers when it comes to that. But obviously, it makes sense now why you're so on top of agency relationships, because agencies are a bit different. Like us, we've got 90 odd programs we're running, and we have access to our clients all the way up the org chart. So it won't be. Maybe that marketing manager won't care, but the chief commercial officer, the CEO or the CMO will probably care about 20 grand extra.
It's
or the CFO. Yeah.
CFOs and CEOs, a quick LinkedIn message and you get one off the bat, straight away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just a different...
It's weird, isn't it?
It's two different areas. I mean, it's the same as I always try and... I know I'm relating everything back to my native days, but that's where I came up in my career. I was in my 20s building a native ad network.
Yeah.
And it was so similar to this. It's supply and demand, right? So on the advertising team, we're selling to marketing managers who've got budgets, performance marketing people buying clicks.
Yeah.
If I wanted to sell into a publisher, I'm dealing with a totally different team, a totally different set of stakeholders and a totally different pain points and benefits to working together. Mm-hmm. And you've got both of those two in one potentially.
Yes.
Unless it's a smaller retailer who happens to have a brand who happens to have the right kind of offer to be an advertiser, but they wouldn't qualify as a publisher for you. That must happen.
That does happen. Yeah. And then and that's where the balance is, because we really stick to the principles of the Sovendus network, which is in order to play it, you do have to pay almost. It's not how we kind of go to market, but you do need to host and provide some sort of traffic in. And that's why also we have the 10K minimum, because what you don't want is, a Just Eat putting in millions of users every month and then Jack's Cupcakes around the corner putting in 5 people and then taking every single person that's coming from Just
Cupcake,
Eat.
okay, devil's advocate, if Jack's Cupcake is paying a CPA that's healthy, the conversion rate's good, and HelloFresh, would you say Just Eat?
You said called Just Eat for this
Just
year
Eat
purposes,
is getting all of that revenue. That's what they signed up for.
Yeah.
Right, then what matters?
Well, so we also have the voucher network, which is that it's purely reciprocal. You put in and you get out. So, for example, if you're not big enough to really justify monetization, it might equate to a few £1,000s a month. But actually, if you host a reward banner, voucher network banner, and then people come back as a result, you might make 15, 20, 30,000 pounds in revenue from affiliate revenue. So actually, it's better to do that. And what you don't want, as I say, is almost like leakage. You want to make sure that the value of the proposition is still premium. So that's why we have that.
My experience in ad networks, tells me that you guys are probably at the very exciting. You said it's still a blue ocean, right? You're at the beginning of a very exciting adoption curve, and there's a small handful of you guys playing in this space, and it's a land grab. It's a zero-sum game, right? Meaning only one of you can really be on that post checkout and dominate it. I'm sure some of them get rotated, but you'll be
A/B testing.
You'll be looking for exclusivity deals, like you just said. So then it becomes a brutal knife fight, right? A bit like what we see with the affiliate networks, right? You can only be with one network, so they're all in a knife fight to basically nick each other's clients constantly. That's the only way to grow, is to take what he's got. Apart from new entrants, right? But in your case, even more so. It was just like that in the native days. You had Taboola and Outbrain. And then we were a challenger, the company I worked for, and it was a ruthless sort of like, mindset. And it was fun for me because it was like a real hardcore acquisition sales job. But what happens eventually in those markets when they mature is, so it's really fun right now because the amount of kind of untouched snow that there is, the retailers that you come to and they've never had a partner on checkout, right? So you get to go in there, go live, they're loving it. Fast forward 5 years or so, if you guys are successful, do you think you might be a victim of your own success? Because what will happen is it's a race to the bottom, and every retailer will have a post-checkout partner, and then they'll just be you guys will be commoditized, and then you're going to get squeezed when they get played off against each other in negotiations. That's what's happened in native, and then the consolidation takes place, and it's the last man standing. And so that in that case, it's Taboola and Outbrain. They've tried to merge. They've both gone public in native, that is, and they've knocked out most of their competitors. Because the race to the bottom means that it can't go on like that. Listen, we speak to some brands and they sort of quote RPMs that we're just like, that's not physically possible. I don't know where that figures come from, quite honestly. So there might be
scale up though.
So like partners that are losing money to do these deals. That's what happened in native.
I wouldn't rule that out.
We had a publisher, I won't say who, but we had our anchor publisher back in the mid 2010s, 2015, 2016. We were losing $1 million a month on it. Right. But it was the big name that we went to everyone with. And in our old network, and we had a MRG, minimum revenue guarantee. So that's only a matter of time. And you guys being PE backed, maybe you could be the ones to be doing that. But you're doing it to sort of grab land and push everyone else out.
I would love us to be doing that. Unfortunately, the CEO would definitely not allow. Everything we do, as I say, is got to focus on margin and EBITDA. So the voucher network as a proposition is 100% margin. We don't pay out on that. So people put in traffic and they get traffic out. So that's perfect. It's 100%. It's like 98% margin. I think there's a smaller cost applied to it. Whereas the monetization product, you're spot on. Like there will be people saying, as a rev share model, because that's what happens. Obviously, in our case, they might be giving away 95% of their margin just to win it.
That is exactly.
But then when they're looking to then be bought, and people look at the numbers, it's not a very, very viable proposition. And all that's going to happen is, as you say, is the race to the bottom means that those hosts are going to go, okay, where are we going now? Where's the money going to come from now? And there's nowhere to go with it.
But they go back around. So they go to one provider. By the way, this is what I saw in native. It might not play out the same way for you guys.
But I think there's definitely an argument for it. I think what we do quite well though is we're quite dynamic in who we're going after in terms of the products. So to generate the best RPMs, we need to get the best offers, the best payouts, but also like the right partners. So what is prevalent in each industry, in each territory, and then who should we be speaking to? There's always new partners. There's always new players that are joining. So, 10 years ago, did Now TV exist? I don't think so. People were just going to Sky before the dodgy sticks. Don't have one. But people now would go, actually, Now TV is a really good proposition if I want to watch XYZ this month. So that might be a brand, and then we go, let's go and speak to those guys. Or, or audiobook, like Redley and brands like that didn't exist. But it was magazines. It was the Men's Health. You could buy 12 months for £1 and you would buy that instead. things change quite quickly, and we're quite good at making sure that the RPMs are boosted by the best products.
Yeah.
As well as the having the.
You're right. So earlier
volume.
on, I said demand doesn't matter that much. It's all about supply. But in fact, the way to avoid that race to the bottom is to differentiate.
Yeah.
And so it will force it. So I think a race to the bottom and sort of this knife fight that I'm talking about will occur in your vertical. But you'd have to worry about that right now because you're at the exciting early conquering stage. But when it does start to happen, it will force the participants, including yourself, to continue innovating, continue having that differentiator.
Pivot a bit. Yeah. Just have a product roadmap that means that you can actually do more. I mean, Sovendus 4 or 5 years ago, especially in other territories, not as much in the UK, would have like a lead gen approach, which is that during the customer journey post-purchase, you could also tick a box that said, I will subscribe to these brands' newsletters because I'm interested.
Correct.
It doesn't really happen that much anymore because people don't really want to do that. But that was a huge source of revenue. And then we've gone, down a little bit, let's pivot, let's try something different. And so, yeah, I think it's just about being at the forefront of like, what's the customer doing? What are they looking for? Like, what is your audience actually going? And that's retail media as well, right? Like, if you put a POS at the front of a store that has something completely irrelevant to a Sainsbury's customer, not going to do very well. You know, if you're looking for a drill in B&Q, I don't really care about a food order necessarily at that point. I'm there because I probably need to drill a hole. I've probably tried at home, it's broke or something. So knowing where your audience is, at what point they are in the customer journey, and then going, actually, this is now relevant here. That changes, doesn't it, as well? So it's about making sure that you're on point with that and making sure that you're always relevant at the right time.
From a brand perspective, like let's say we've been talking and the brand has bought in finally, and we integrate with Sovendus. How long typically, from like anecdotally, like are they like, yes, this was the right solution all along, or like how long does it take until they come to a realization that it's working or it's not?
Or it's not. Yeah, I mean, it can be quite quick. So like, there's a brand, a very, very famous sportswear brand that went live with us like last week.
Who?
I can't name.
I knew you couldn't use the way you said it.
Yeah. But like, I think like over the weekend that they went live, like 17,000 voucher requests. So instantly they're like, okay, this is working. Because we had to call, like, can we get some more vouchers made? Because they were single use codes. Once they're gone, we can't obviously use them. Equally, within the monetization setup, you would know, because if they've already done it with someone else, there's a very quick test there. How much are we doing versus what the previous partner was doing, and that's very thankfully. And this is why I kind of joined Sovendus. It's quite nice to work for the big dog, like the Goliath of the space, and be like, it's quite nice to just let it go, and then just let the business, and let the product do its work.
Yeah.
And then from the voucher network point of view, it doesn't take very long. So everything we do is algorithm driven. So we kind of remove the human bias of, I think this will work. I think that having, this specific offer on this checkout page makes sense. Because that's just what I think. But actually, customer data and behavior data is way more important. So we have one of our biggest referrers to the fashion industry is tech. And I couldn't tell you now why. And then I had a call with someone who I used to work with at Boohoo, and she said, no, that makes total sense to me. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, if I had to buy something really boring like a mouse or a keyboard, and then I saw an offer for something like fashion, I'd probably just feel like treating myself. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like I would probably buy myself a pair of shoes. Just, I've spent 20 quid on something I didn't want to spend it on. I'll feel like I'm getting something to look forward to. And I thought, well, that's just a human thing to do to you, but not to me. That seems a bit foreign to me to do that. So removing that human bias and letting the algorithm just do its job means that I can just say to a brand, turn it on, see if it works. Well, you'll see the numbers. You'll see the numbers in AWIN, Web Gains, TD, CJ. And if it doesn't, then turn us off, take it off. We don't have contracts in place. Why would you hold people? You can't hold people to account also with what's on their own site.
Yeah. So this is where it got, I know I sound like a broken record, this is where it got weird in native. Because, okay, so you're giving an MRG to, let's say, the New York Times, you're going to give them $5 per 1,000 for a year, guaranteed. But you need to have protections that you're allowed to run the ads that are going to make money. If you're the one, and a lot of them are getting paid up front. They get not the New York Times, I'm using it as an example, but like, let's say that kind of massive publisher, the network might give them like $5 million day one.
Yeah,
right?
And then they have to satisfy their...
And then they got to try and earn that money back throughout the year. And so they would need to have like, belly fat ads running, crypto stuff and all this kind of stuff, because that's an extreme example, but they would have to run more salacious stuff that would click and sell. And it's caused a lot of problems because the publisher was happy to take the money, but then they also need to help the provider get their return with what you're doing, having it kind of flexible and stuff. That is the way you build a long-term partner. As soon as that contract's up, one of those two parties are unhappy. In my example, the network's lost a ton of money, so they're not going to be renewing that on the same terms, or the publisher has been forced to run ads that are not editorially aligned with their brand, so they're not going to renew either. And then they go to the next network and try and push them down. Whereas what you're talking about would build, I think, long-term sustainable partnerships that go on forever, that are, mutually beneficial.
Well, that point also reminded me, one thing that brands would push back on is like, who are we showing and where are we showing? So you can immediately say, I don't want to be shown on adult sites. I want to be shown on betting sites.
So there are rules put in place within the algorithm.
They can decide. They can literally cherry pick brands. So they say, actually, they're a competitor. So obviously we don't want to be shown after their journey, and we don't want to show them. And everything is reciprocal. So the minute you blacklist someone, they automatically blacklist you.
That's cool.
So you can scale. But then the beauty of that is you almost decide how much scale you're going to achieve, because obviously 100% in, you get up to 60 million people in Europe. But the minute you turn off one industry, you might take 10% of that off. Equally, you can decide where your brand's being shown. So
what are your strong industries?
Travel, fashion, grocery, so
FMCG,
food and drink. Yeah. Especially from a sync side of things. You can imagine the HelloFreshes, the Gustos, those kind of brands. From a sync point of view, they are willing to put some pretty good CPAs in place.
Sync meaning the brand offer.
Yeah.
Who's the big fashion hosts?
So I guess in the Farfetchers of this world, which actually weirdly you normally get pushback, high end, right? But actually that they're actually fantastic from a monetization point of view.
I'm not surprised because people are kind of looking for, even though they might be £500 for a pair of Jordans, they're looking for a deal.
Always.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
That is actually a deal for collectors.
Yeah, always.
But also Farfetch has a ton of US traffic.
I mean, we need to just move into the
so it sounds like you've already got the supply.
Honestly, I think, I'd be my first to put my hand up to try and lead that. I think it would be not an easy win, because the US isn't easy. I ran the MyProtein US account. It wasn't easy, but the scale.
Yeah, but when you're up against, I don't know what the incumbents are like on straight, gift for purchase, but when you're up against from what I've seen, who's the one that there's a network that runs on CPC out there, the competitor of yours that runs Rocked. That seems like the dominant one in the US, but that is a totally different model, meaning it's in terms of getting brands on board, it's a lot harder.
It's not
uncapped.
It works out an RPM still, or a CPM. They still kind of work
brands are paying for a click.
So in some cases the campaigns do, which again is one of those where so it works in terms of helping to boost the RPMs, but equally, is it the right idea? So it goes back to probably your native point of view, right? So is having I'm trying to think of a Disney Plus ad, that's not really offer led. It's nothing to do with the user. Yeah, so and is it relevant? Doesn't really matter. We're just pushing it out because then the brand still get paid.
Got to spend the budget.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And there's an argument. It depends. If you're hosting and you don't really give a shit, sure, run it. Don't bother me. There's plenty of other brands that you could probably also work with that slightly less above board methods to try and monetize checkout confirmation pages.
Like what?
Can't name them on here.
No, not naming the brands, but what methods are they using?
Subscriptions, sign up, and then it's got that conversation we had about the gym membership model. You forget that you've signed up to something, and
got it. So they can pay higher CPAs.
Pounds comes out of your bank account every month, and they pay. So
they pay higher CPAs, but it's because there's a rebuild. And
listen, it represents a lot of money post checkout, but I don't think the user benefits at all from that.
No,
at all.
When I find out that I've been paying, as I did once with Audible, right? So I told him this story. We were talking to our CFO, and she was like, "Don't forget to cancel all your subscriptions that you're not using, guys." And we're looking at we found thousands of pounds of subscriptions that the business isn't even using. So we're all that. Yeah. But I remembered then that I once noticed in my bank that I was paying for Audible for audiobooks. Because when you can't buy a single book on Audible, or I couldn't at the time, it makes you sign up for a free trial. Yeah. And I looked, I was like, I'm paying for Audible. Let's call it £10 a month. Yeah. And then I was like, went through their dark path. Do you know that? Do you heard that before? Dark path. So SaaS companies have a dark path, I think,
to get out of it.
Where it's really engineered, it's like reverse CRO. So conversion rate optimized to help you not be able to get out of it, but it's all legal. So I must have tried and failed a few times. Eventually, I did manage to get it. You have to get a desktop. and go onto Amazon or Audible's website on a desktop and then go
Oh,
through this.
I had this. Yeah, I think I've had a similar vibe.
When I eventually cancelled it, I looked in my
Paramount.
bank. I did the time, it says like, looking at my thing, I searched Audible and I saw Audible every month, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, filter, 5 years, all time. Yeah. And I looked and I've been paying for it for like 8 years.
No way.
And I've never once used it. So I'd spent over $1,000 on breakage.
Yeah.
To your point, it's very effective.
It's very effective.
But
yeah.
if I had gone, if I had found Audible through, let's say, the Trainline post checkout, and then I might then associate the Trainline with costing me $1,000 unknowingly, and
quite
so
possibly.
it's brand damaging for the host.
Yeah, but
this is a point you're making. Sorry.
From other
running bad offers like that is not Audible's a bad example. So I'm not saying that about Audible, but like running an offer that's not clear. And then the customer might then associate the brand with that.
Yeah, and I think this is what's really good about Sovendus as well is that they've got 4.5 on what's it called, Trustpilot.
Yeah,
and when you read the actual reviews, it's like, yes, some of them are subscription offers where you do have to opt in, but it's like clear. So the T's and C's, so everything we do is almost like pre-qualified. So when you go on the voucher network, it says this is for new customers only. The free gift is when you spend X amount. This is a subscription. And so it's really clear you are getting something for free, but nothing in this world is free. So what are you doing in order to get that, right? It's either you're giving data or you are the data.
You say nothing's for free, but I mean, last time I spoke to Andy at Groom, they've got...
Their offers are unreal.
Then they pretty much give stuff for free.
They do, you just pay shipping.
That's right, yeah. So they're literally giving it for free. Because they're so confident in their products that they know that a healthy number of people come back and then purchase long term.
And a Manchester brand, so we love him.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
I absolutely love those guys. Yeah, and to be fair on that is that, then you end up buying. They do a really good box. And you have like the calming sleep spray and all those kind, and the candles and so, and then people come back and make full purchases
because they're consumable.
Yeah.
So some people can do it.
Yeah.
But Audible, if you are listening, we think we could do a good job on your affiliate program.
Audible, hit me up, hit us up. This is like day one of trying to get Audible as a client. I've not started it I've got to a great start, have I? By
working from a deficit here, but that's all right.
that's sort of like, sorry Audible, if you listen to this for like, obviously attacking your dark path, but it was hard to cancel in my defense. We'll grow your affiliate program, the likes of which you've never seen. Hit us up, info@revwise.com, and let's talk.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
I reckon that'll work. Jeff Bezos, if you're listening.
So, incrementality.
That's what a segue.
Let's start there.
What a segue.
You mentioned it earlier on. Obviously, new customer only acquisition. It means that you don't have to really, even though you're surrounded by the affiliate, and you are in the affiliate industry, but you don't have to join in that debate really, because it's very clear cut.
No,
Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a timely conversation because Hello Partner asked me to like get involved with just writing pieces, different pieces they can share, just from different viewpoints. And incrementality is one I literally did today. Went out today, which was around like I mean, the word incrementality literally didn't exist, I think, like 5-6 years ago. It's a made up word. And incremental is a word. Incrementality is just this like buzzword that people then go on about. But like, what is incrementality to you versus the next person, right? So like a new customer, sure, fine. But then also someone that spends in it more than someone else, that's incremental value to a brand and so on. But yeah, from Sovendus' point of view, pure play new customers. Like if you want to only pay for those new customers, there's obviously always limitations with what incrementality even is. Like some brands, some of the biggest brands in the world, when you speak to them, they don't even have new customer tracking on their affiliate program. You guys will have seen this, right? When you take over accounts from either other agencies or from in-house and you go, you don't have this set up. So how are you going to do smart commissioning, or how are you going to do product SKU level commissioning or whatever? So for us, it's we know that user. We've seen if we've seen them before, and we also ask the user to give us their email address for two reasons. One is, have we seen them before? Have they tried to redeem an offer with that brand before? And then the second is, we can then also, if they opt in, send them a reminder for those, which is obviously, as I say, 50% of our conversions, then also market to them. So we can say to them brands, if you want to do an email campaign, like our database is 1.6 million now, you can send that to someone that's already engaged with fashion brand X or beauty brand Y.
This incrementality thing, though, you made a good point there. It's complicated because it is really, we can advise, and we do advise our clients on what kind of what's fair and what good looks like. But
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. If I'm coming through one of your hosts,
Mhm.
I see one of the merchant offers or the brand offers, and then I take up the offer.
Yeah.
You guys claim that, rightly so.
Yeah.
Commission gets paid, product gets sent. But if I've also, I'm also getting emails from that brand.
Yeah.
I've seen a meta ad.
Yeah.
Clicked.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been on another affiliate publisher. Maybe I've been on a different affiliate publisher that week as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I would call that multi-touch point sale. Or, some people call it double dipping, triple dipping, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a lot more, thankfully, brands take a mature stance on valuing each of those participants rather than saying only one actually matters.
Yes.
That's what I think about with incrementality. That's really what matters, right?
Yeah.
That's the important part.
But we're the only channel as well, like when I speak about affiliate, that gets penalized because there's validations. What other agency that works outside of affiliate goes back to Google and says, oh, by the way, someone else played a role in this. Can we get a rebate?
Can I get my clicks back, please? Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's only affiliate where this happens. And I understand the reasons for it, cancellations, fraud, all that other stuff. But no other channel also includes the fact that we only charge commission on net. So less of everything. I know they pay
less of VAT, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you say that. The number of clients that we sign from other agencies that have been paying commit. Can I say this? Paying commission.
You've not named it's your podcast. You can do what you want.
It's a bit late now.
Yeah.
So the amount of clients we've signed, probably in the dozens, who we've signed them from a competing agency, perhaps, where they have been paying commission. They've been paying commission over VAT, which is not normal practice, as you said.
Yes.
And there's only two explanations for that. One is incompetence on the agency's part to not advise the client that is not the done thing. Or two is corruption because they're getting more of their override because they're getting commission on the whole program, and the program's bigger by 20% if they do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
think about that.
Yeah, given that we don't take commission off of the tracked revenue number, we just focus on bottom line profits for our clients. So obviously, the first thing we do is cut that down.
I mean, it's a quick win off the bat, isn't it? If you say to them, you can shave off like 20% on VAT, and then
we're about to grow it. We're about to grow it by 100% anyway.
Yeah,
but let's take 20% of the wastage. Winning.
Yeah, but I mean, like as I said, incrementality. Like, what other channel can you do that where you can just say, actually, we're gonna start doing checks on what we're actually spending?
Klaviyo, CRM, no. Sunk cost.
Mm-hmm.
Google, no.
Upfront CPC.
Meta, no. TV, no.
There isn't one.
Insert?
There isn't one. No, even
no,
then.
No.
I mean, we're digital inserts. I think that's when my mum asked me when I first joined Sovendus, how do you describe it? And I wish I'd gone back now and gone, when you open a box and there's like leaflets in there, we're the digital version of that. We show you other brands at the point of purchase rather than point of delivery. You're still paying for that up front. It's still a sunken cost up front. You just get an X amount of impressions, which is people's leaflets coming to their door. There's no other channel. So in terms of incrementality, I think the affiliate channel in general is fantastic for that because you can measure it as much as possible. The limitations being your own tracking or your setup.
I totally agree with you. The only problem in affiliates, all the problems that everyone moans about that we don't suffer from, so we just sit back and kind of watch the moaning and think, what's all this about? All these problems seem to be problems of their own making, some of these parties or the industry historically, because it's only like what we've just laid out is obviously completely rational. Any marketer or CEO would understand that. Yes, if there's multiple parties involved in a sale, that's just how it is. That's how you got the sale.
Yes,
actually,
the sale happened.
Right?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's only when to juice up their own income, certain people and affiliates will claim that a very sort of light touch end of funnel sale is in fact the only reason that you're getting the sale.
Yeah.
When they misrepresent things like that and get away with it for a long time and they make a lot of money off of it, that's where the reputational stuff comes from, that everyone's now oversharing and panicking about talking it. Just stop doing it. Just stop. It's
tiresome, isn't it?
Just stop doing it, and you won't have to stop, and then you won't have to keep like moaning about reputation. You know what I mean? Like,
but this is the basis that we started talking last week, wasn't it? About the event that I'm hosting with a friend Kirsten, who's at another agency, but it was around having. Kirsten's class.
She can get a shout out.
Kirsten Black, and we said, I'm so sick of just the most like laborious, downbeat conversations on LinkedIn about affiliate, and it's so negative approach to things. We both did because we were just chatting about it, and then I said, well, actually, the way we should be looking at this is because working brand side, you do have those conversations. Like there are people going, but you just last click, and you just like we would have closed those anyway. There was a huge. It was Gymshark shut their affiliate program for a year. It was I'm trying to think. It was Elliot Myers. I didn't work with Elliot Myers at all. Like he was there. I'm pretty sure it was Gymshark at that time where they shut the affiliate program, and like 80% of the traffic and the sales didn't reappear. So okay, 20% was overlap. That's pretty fair. You're still seeing a huge incremental value from affiliate, and so we said, look, these conversations happen. Digital marketing directors, CEOs, CFOs, they're all saying it. So why don't we like help people better equip themselves to have these conversations by having like a bit of like a hypothetical debate setting? So we've got 3 topics, which is why we start talking, because we've got Jean and Olivia from you guys come in. And I think the topic they've picked is affiliate. Affiliate has gone backwards in the last 5 years? Okay, pretty provocative statement. But the idea being is that you go, have we actually developed in the last 5 years? Yeah, there's loads of new publishers, loads of new types of industries. And within the, like, Adam Ross said it, like every marketing channel is pretty much an affiliate now.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. But have we moved forward? Now, I would say yes, but also there are arguments that we haven't. So let's have this debate, because then hopefully everyone leaves and goes, I know what to say now. I know how to say it.
Yeah,
because someone played the...
Wait a second, we're taking part in this event, but are we going to be helping sharpen the pitches of other agencies then?
Well, maybe, yeah, I guess so. No, I guess it's more for the brands, right? Because brand people are just constantly fighting these narratives. And it's like, okay, how do we help people? And it's not by just moaning about
it's too
fraud on LinkedIn.
I've got the ultimate solution though. You know how I think they can do it is actually build a way better program and show that themselves doing it out and out.
Yeah, but this is there's a lot of good voices on LinkedIn where you see people talking about like revenue for revenue's sake, and sometimes people are just KPI'd on the wrong things.
Yes,
and it's like just top level revenues. You said that whether it's in house or agencies or whoever it is, they're just given KPI of revenue, so you're on board dodgy media buyers, and then it looks great.
Yeah, when you say that question, which you're gonna debate, has the industry gone backwards in the last 5 years, and it's all like there's an element of like subjectivity to it as well. And I would, you can probably like segment up the industry as well and say parts of it haven't, like clearly, but other parts have. And when you look at publisher types like yours and like CSS, and like a few influencers, like.
Well, that's one of the topics. Does influencer belong in affiliate?
What?
Right. And that's one of them, yeah.
Oh, I would passionately debate that it does.
Yeah. So then there's argument like just because it's the same commercial proposition, but should it not just be standalone? Well, is it muddy in the waters? I mean,
in that case, we'd take blogs out then. Let's take bloggers out.
Yeah, completely. I mean, we can sit here and debate it. That's what the event's for, right? Give 5 minutes. Yeah, give 5 minutes per person, and then as a hypothetical. It's a chance for people to have a genuine conversation.
One of the questions should be, do leading figures in the affiliate industry moan too much?
Yeah.
About
too self-referential.
Self-referential, that could be a good debate topic.
Yeah.
Don't know if
should we do that for edition 2? Who do you want to debate with? We'll put you on there as against who?
Might end.
Don't start calling people out on a podcast. Starting like, it'll be a white collar boxing match next. It just starts throwing
boxing.
And what we've done is we've had 3 agencies on the stage, but each person, so the 2 people debating are from the same agency. So we try and remove as much bias as possible.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Everything is hypothetical. Have it out a little bit, and there's like a little vote, and it's just to have a bit.
So
of
fun. you got Jan and Olivia going against each other.
Yes,
excellent.
Yeah,
that's good actually.
Will it be filmed?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did hook up Jazz, our marketing manager, with your team to see if we can get some clips.
She's going to get involved, yeah.
Nice. No, I love it. I think you're doing great stuff in the industry. And obviously, it's great to speak to you for the first time last week about this stuff. And I can already tell there's like loads of cool stuff we can get involved in. And, just to sort of like, just to put it straight as well, like me and Jamie, we feel like RevWise has been going, we're at our 3rd year anniversary. We're in our 4th year now. Obviously, we've become one of the biggest affiliate agencies, certainly in the UK, in that space of time. And a lot of people are very surprised. We kind of crept up on the industry, and then we were trying to keep quiet for the first couple of years. And then we've become loud and proud.
Yeah.
But for that reason, when we say things like sometimes like I just did in that little debate there, it's not to be like a dick. It's not to like sort of like kick people or be contrarian for the sake of it. We genuinely are confused sometimes because we are not industry insiders. Obviously we are now, like we're operating at the highest levels and we know everyone, and I hope we've got a good reputation. But I was in performance marketing, but more in native, sales. Jamie was a merchant essentially, for 10 years. He was at Go Groupie, heading up marketing. So we both know the affiliate industry from different sides, and we've not been inside the industry, the whole time. And everyone else, that is a lot of people that are leading voices here, they have been. So they have different pain points to us. But basically what it comes down to is we grow our agency. We came in and saw where the affiliates was going, see what our version of affiliates has always been different, because we've been going for 3 years.
Yeah.
And in the last I think from my research, 5 to 6 years has been this new era of affiliates. In the last 5 to 6 years, I would say commerce content from publishers like Hearst, Condé, Bauer, Future, even in the US, Wirecutter, all this stuff really took off in the late 2010s, right? Then COVID hit, it went supercharged. Now you've got big, massive teams at all these big publishers that are using affiliates as a major revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, the rise of people like Sovendus. You've got all of the influencer. You've got TikTok Shop. Like we came in, we were like, holy shit, this whole channel is massively underserved by agencies. It's massively it's now. So we found it really easy to win clients and grow and do a good job for those clients as well and build our agency in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But we never looked at we've never seen any of these negative things. But that's again because our model has always been flat fee, profit focused, doing the hard legwork and the reps, and working smart and building systems to help us. Okay, well, we can't get enough publishers of the right kind of publishers on, right, to replace that bad revenue. How do we do that?
Yeah.
And we got really intelligent and really good at delivering it. And so we forced ourselves to deliver it. And that's why we've got the retention that we've got and the growth and the case studies and stuff.
Yeah.
But then that means we can't relate to the problems of certain other parties. Like,
well, you're not bogged down by them.
We're not bogged down by them, but also when we hear all the moaning and all the things, we're thinking like, why are they banging on about this? Like, it doesn't make sense to us. And I say this to everyone I meet, and they kind of sometimes they agree, or sometimes they go, yeah, no, it's because of this. But because we're not a traditional affiliate agency, we don't have traditional affiliate problems.
No, but I think what you've described there is like on a macro level. When I first joined Sovendus, Pete said to me, and this is a purely micro level, like try and share all your views as early as possible, because when you get stuck in a business, you start to just basically mold into what the business does rather than trying to buck the trend a little bit and go, actually, no, let's do it this way. You see things for what they are. So if you've come in at a later stage, you see things for what they are rather than like what people say they are. So I see the same to you guys. I mean, on a again, like a smaller level, when I was working brand side in Manchester, I was sick to death of going to London. And I know we're recording this in London today, but like I was bored of having to travel whilst I was working for 3 of the biggest brands in the UK, like THG, Fanatics and Boohoo, like 3 massive brands where people should have been coming to us, really, because everyone else got that treatment in London. But because we were Manchester, we'd have to wait for PR Live or for any other of the events to meet people. And I met with the WebGains CEO at the time, and I was like, this is my opportunity. I was like, this is what we should do. And I'd signed with WebGains at the time with Fanatics as a group. And I said, I actually believe in what you guys are doing. I believe in the statement of service first and how you work. So let's do it. Let's open up a Manchester office. And I knew there were people in Manchester, but not necessarily like a hub. And the same goes, it was like, okay, we could sit here and moan about it and really focus on that negative, or we just do something about it and go, how do we fix that? And how do we offer something different? And for me, it was a case of, I'd like to work for someone that I actually really believed in what they were doing, but equally, I don't want to move to London, wouldn't move to London. So why don't we open up something here? And we did it. So what you said there, it completely rings true. There are issues, no doubt. Every industry has issues, but if you focus on them for so long, you just get obsessed with them.
And you do need new voices. We like to think we are a relatively new voice. You've got, a different opinion to a lot of those that are in the industry, have been for a long time. Every industry needs disruptors.
Without being a dick, like you just said there, you don't want to be a dick. But at the same time, you've got to have some sort of voice to say, actually, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Without being...
There should never be one voice for an industry. Like it needs differing points of view, different voices from different areas. And I think we want to try and see that a lot more, and when we're going to try and be that ourselves.
Yeah, we put our own voice out there. I think I don't think I've not been invited to speak anywhere.
I think this
might be a reason.
This is why you got to do your own podcast.
Yeah,
do it yourself.
Yeah.
No, I think that. Listen, like, there's always going to be also, certain platforms where you can share certain. This is the other thing around this debate event is a lot of the time, and I completely understand the commercial proposition of them. But at events, you can't say certain things because the sponsors are the people that you're going to want to challenge, and that's totally fine. And I think the one amazing thing last year at PLI was Awin announced their the commission
CPI.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
brilliant, perfect. So there are also players, big players in the game that are doing things that I think span, the more recent stuff with the honey stuff, right? With like different networks changing how they work, or
they moved quick and swift.
Yeah,
and, we work.
Did they though? Because it was a year after everything came out.
Well, after the second video.
Yeah, but the point is like then. But then I think like people followed.
But mate, think about the money that's at stake, rightly or wrongly. Yeah, and they've got a responsibility, every network, to their employees to keep them employed.
Yeah.
And also some of the brands actually might not many of them, but some of them don't necessarily agree with the maybe internal politics on their side. But they couldn't always just rip it up and burn the house down. So for what all things considered, and I know this because we are in contact with senior people at Awin, with Adam Ross and others, I think they've done really, really well in that situation.
Yeah.
And also I will say that the rants that I sometimes go on, like I just did about the affiliate industry being sort of stuck in its old ways, me and Jamie and RevWires, the whole company, we can't relate to these problems, so we just kind of find it funny. What I will say is that having dealt with the networks at a high level this whole time, they absolutely get it, and they're driving all the right stuff forward.
100%.
It's just everyone else that's around it that I think that needs to kind of like move on. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I spent 6 years at WebGains and conversations with Alona and Inigo and Richard when he was there. They are, and I was there when WebGains pushed everyone to first party tracking. So third party was being phased out to the point where they said, if you're not done at this point, you won't be a client. Huge risk to do so, but the majority, I think pretty much like 90% did do it, and it was better for all involved. They were ahead of the curve then with all the changes that were happening within the tracking and third-party tracking being phased out, and then it wasn't, and all that. But they were already ahead, so you didn't have to worry too much about it. So there are, changes happening, and I think that from a tech point of view, all the networks are pretty much on it.
Yeah, they're on it. And like, we've got this agency advisory board thing.
Yeah.
They haven't done it for a while, but when we were going to there, I was super impressed because Awin basically invited every agency that they work with into the leaders of the agencies. Did you guys go as
there was one like 2 weeks ago, though, right? 3-4 weeks ago?
That might have been just an Awin meetup. But the agency advisory board, unless there was one.
It's Jess that does it, right? Jess Smith.
Jess, yeah. They took everyone's questions. I had a bunch from our team, and they like implemented some of that stuff like the next week.
Yeah.
And then there was one thing that it was about they're moving every sub network onto a soft click.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They kicked a bunch off. They shared them with us. Like, yes, they've got considerations around these things, but they are. I was very dubious at first. Like, is it all just for show? Not Awin, but all networks. Really, that makes some money, but actually, they are thinking much bigger. And
I think so, yeah.
I've seen it myself, so I think fair play to them. But it's just time to sex up the industry a little bit. Some of the.
But we're not very good, are we? At like, I know it's a really like used term, like storytelling. We said this, didn't we, last week? We're not very good at storytelling.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
What does it mean? Because what I think is actually, if we're actually just commercially clever with how we work in the affiliate space, you don't really need to then have to stand up to all the questioning because you'll already have had like everything in order. Everything stands up for itself. Does this partner, like, within the voucher space, like, yes, there is a lot that would be, I've got to check out and then I'll quickly look for a voucher. Sure. The argument of whether that customer would have redeemed or bought off the back of not having a voucher or not, that's an argument for someone else to worry about. Thankfully for where we are, a little plug, the customer's seeing our offers, but they've just bought from another brand. They're not even thinking about the brands that we're showing them offers for.
Correct.
So thankfully,
not an open web search.
Exactly.
Big
Nothing.
difference.
And when I've just bought a train ticket, I might not necessarily thinking about dog food, but Tails are going to offer me whatever for a dog. I don't own a dog right now, but if I did, fantastic. I hadn't even thought about it. Or Crumb pet type. So all these things, they're fantastic storytelling for us. Back to storytelling, but like as an industry, I think if we just make sure that everything we do stands up on its own 2 feet and says, actually, this is a really good commercial proposition.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about too much about
Storytelling.
Else, right? Yeah, storytelling.
I think Sovendus is a good example. CSS is also a good example of like hybrid models where, it's not, it doesn't fit into like neat boxes, but your commercial offering to a brand is so good and solid that it is, like you say, it stands alone.
And when you speak to the people that also like really get it, it just makes so much more sense. And they're not storytelling. They're just telling it as it is. Like, Johnny at Red Brain, Yope at Shopperize. When you speak to those people, they just get it and they make you understand it exactly how it is. And therefore, then you can repeat that back to the people that you need to speak to about it. If it's CMOs, CFOs, CEOs, why we're doing this, or even like internally when, you'd Boohoo days and so on, when CSS was really growing, PPC teams would be like, no, why would we do that? Why would we give those rights? Why would we give PPC rights to voucher codes at this point? It's about being able to stand up to those questions and actually give a really good commercial answer back. And if they do, you get it signed off.
Yeah. It's like from our perspective as well as an agency, it's like the story could be really simple. It's like, hey, I've got a story for you. We took over your program a year ago. This is what it looked like. This is what the data showed. And this is what was very obvious from the publisher mix. Now we've onboarded X number of net new publishers that are driving actual content. That is PR. We've gone out and done sampling. Here's all the receipts. Here's all the email threads. Here's everything. We've been working openly in Slack with you. We've driven this many sales. That's just what's tracked. We've got this whole diverse mix and the program's up 100% and we cut a load of wastage. There's your story. So for again, I'm just...
Numbers paint a picture rather than tell a story.
If we're talking about a story from an affiliate agency perspective, if we're talking about a story other than that story, I don't know what we're talking about.
No.
Like, what else story is there to tell?
There isn't, is there? There isn't. They're just... I understand that there's then other things like fraud, and there are 100% conversations we should be having about fraudulent activity from a publisher side, payouts.
Payments, yeah.
Sure, get it. But equally, some businesses in the travel sector, people make bookings 12 months in advance. Unfortunately, they don't see the revenue until the person sits that holiday. So you are going to have to wait. I understand it's not ideal, but that is also that's the nature of the beast. We're working with travel brands. So that's their problem. It's pretty set in stone. So we just need to work around, do we subsidize payments ahead of time? And then obviously then you get rebates and credit notes and all that kind of stuff. Sure, maybe. But I think that the networks are doing a pretty good job at steering that. Yeah. And they have to because they're sat in the middle of it.
Yeah.
They have to do it. So
that's their value layer as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they really do work for what they earn.
Yeah.
Having worked there for 6 years, sorry, I think, you really see the amount of work that they have to put in to earn. Publishers making pennies on the pound, and the typical affiliate model is the network model is pennies on the pennies, micro pennies on the pennies. You have to do a lot of volume to make good dough.
What's your favorite? We spoke about events at the beginning, but I'm thinking about now I know you. We spent this time chatting. I'm looking forward to seeing you like bopping around the events because you're a fun guy. Philly Fest or PI Live?
No, I'm not answering that question. That's way too far. No, I think they're both. Do you know what? Like PI Live was one of the first events I got to go to in an affiliate space. The scale is unreal.
Yeah.
The amount of people you see there. I think what Affiliate Fest have done is really just come in and gone, similar to what we just said there, like see things differently and gone, we're going to make it a proper like festival vibe, keep it chill.
What sort of voices do you want to hear more of at these sorts of events when it comes to like the speaking circuit and the debates?
Yeah, well, do you know what? Again, like shameless plug, like the event that we're doing in Manchester is people that we don't get to hear from. So Jean and Olivia, I don't think actually Olivia did speak last week at the Women in Affiliate. Jean, I've never heard speak. When I speak to him, I love hearing what he has to say about like a program or what he's done. And what I used to love, and I don't think we still get enough of, is like when you sit down and listen to someone talk, like, do you actually get something where you could take away and actually implement that?
He's actually, he's just a genius. Like Olivia too, they're fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to have them at Revwise.
Yeah, they're class. Olivia I worked with a little bit when she was at a previous agency, and then obviously Jean in a number of roles. And I think they just get it. And again, it's just people you like want to hear from. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas I think like I've done talks at different events, and like I'm sure I can try and add as much value as possible, but hearing people at more junior level is great for their personal
they're
branding.
Not junior, by the way.
No, more junior than CEO, CMO.
Got it.
You hear you do
operators.
Hear,
operators.
and that's also interesting, right? you had Adam Ross on here. Like people listen to that because he's also in charge of one of the biggest, if not the biggest network in the industry.
Yeah.
You want to hear what they have to say. But then also at these events, you've got to remember that some of these brands are sending junior people to learn and bring back not only contacts, but also like context. So like what's everyone else doing? The brand huddle that Philly Fest did last week, I'm sure was pretty good. I didn't go obviously, but I'm sure people were sharing without giving away secrets as to how they were growing their programs and then hurting themselves. Like, what are people doing, and how did they cross that bridge when they come to an issue? Like, how did they get past that? So I think these events are quite good for doing that. They're just a little bit more like the lesser heard voices would be quite cool.
So less preachy, basically. More debate style, like you're bringing in.
Debate style, like this is something I spoke about for a little while about that debate style. I'm thankful that Hannah and the team there have gone, we could do this. We'll back you on this. Like that's
Philly Fest, you mean?
Yeah, Hannah was like, yeah, we'll do it. Hannah and James and Isabel's been like really on it in terms of sorting it out. So I think it's great to do that, because I think also it's really good to have like 2 dates in the diary. But if you can't make one of them, it's a big chunk of an event that you're missing. So having like smaller micro satellite events are also really cool. So I think the other thing is that neither party, so PR Live and Affiliate Fest, when you speak to them, neither are closed off to any sort of feedback. So I put out a post about like, for me as a publisher, I want to speak to as many brands at these events. I want the big brands, I want the small brands, I want every type of brand. But sometimes the only way to speak to those brands is through agencies. So, a Coca-Cola ain't going to come to PR Live. They're not going to come to a Philly Fest, but their agency might. So if you guys had a huge conglomerate brand that you're representing, you would be there. But the pricing structure didn't really reflect.
For agencies.
Yeah. And to be fair, I'll always give credit. Matt Wood and Hannah at Philly Fest Matt Wood at PR Live said, here's why this is the situation. Yeah. Equally, if you're a one-man band, there's allowances. And if you're freelance, there's allowances. And I think that's really important to self-govern almost, like holding people to account and go, here's like what's
it's
the
so
deal?
hard to keep everyone happy, right? So it's interesting to hear that, because I bumped into Matt in Bristol at this founders like party event. It was the first time I've met him, but he is a great guy.
Yeah,
we chatted for a while, and this came up actually. He was like, you'd be surprised. I hope you don't mind me saying this. He was like, you'd be shocked if you knew some of the big massive agencies that are saying we're only coming to PR Live if we get a load of free tickets, and I'm saying something like, you've literally got like millions in budgets, and your clients need you to be there. So what are you talking about? And they're doing all sorts of tricks, like sign up as their client, try and get a brand ticket, and it's like, what are they doing? Yeah. Meanwhile, you got like companies like RevWise who are obviously buying the tickets, coming honestly. So when I heard that from his perspective, I was like, yeah, fuck them. Like, but then when I hear it from your perspective, which you're also a customer of theirs, I'm hearing, actually do what you can to get all of the people that I want to sell to.
That's the value for us.
So they've got a really hard job, every event company, trying to balance those interests.
Yeah.
And also they've got expensive venues to pay for.
And listen, I think the best bit is that some of the best, like brightest, biggest energy people are working for both those, like Jen that works at PR Live, and then like Isabel and Hannah.
Danon.
Yeah, like they're just such like vibey people that
Sol,
these events.
Wilkinson,
Sol,
shout out to Sol.
Sol's fantastic, and also then with the awards as well that they run alongside it. So I think that is the beauty of this industry, right? So if you worked in SEO or PPC, you ain't getting to do these things. True. And that's also kind of why I fell into this role, because the first day at My Protein, all I wanted to do was work in sports marketing. And the HR guys was like, you good at talking to people? And I was like, yeah, I'd say so. I like speaking to people. I was like, right, affiliates. And I'd never even heard of it. Just sat me down, and 10 years on, 11 years on, like, yeah, buzzing. This is why we go to these events. Like, this is what we're here for. So it works out quite well.
And 10 years on, it's a different industry in a way.
Yeah. Well, this is the good question.
We've gone through
debate, isn't it? Has it got better in the last 5 years?
We've gone over a lot of it already.
100%. It has to.
It has to. Yeah. I think. Listen, there's still the mainstays that are still here, but they are doing different things. I think that there's a lot of new. I mean, CSS wasn't a thing when I was at My Protein.
Yeah.
Equally, I was kind of working in different territories. So a lot of the brands that the publishers in that industry are very different now and have grown. And I think the structure. So in terms of, if you looked at a program 10 years ago versus now, the diversification is just so big, and that's great from a risk point of view, right? So if CSS suddenly disappeared tomorrow, you've got so many publishers that would fill that gap, that would step up, and I think equally are pushing to do so now. There's also a lot of things that haven't changed, and that's probably for the better as well. So, I think that the social nature of our industry is is just the
fact we
best.
can sit here and sort of name drop people that we rate and you know, the event stuff, and it's all kind of, it's small enough that you can kind of get to know everything and everyone. But it's big enough that it's obviously a decent industry.
And everyone, like, you know, if you needed some advice, you could easily drop them each a message, email, get the number somehow, or LinkedIn, and they would come back to you. But they would all reply. Like, they would all get back in touch, or at least point you in the right direction, no matter what company they work for. Because also, because it's so incestuous, you have to do so. If you get a bad name in the industry, like you're done in this industry.
Well, think about what we see on our side every time we put an AD job live or a senior affiliate manager job live. We put a job live. We put a job live. Well, we've got one live right now for an account director, but we put one live like a little while ago, didn't we? It was a senior affiliate manager. We got like 290 applications. So we had to like cut it after a week. This is getting insane. And then our operations managers like made a sheet and kind of like organized that, you know, who's relevant, who's come from, you know, relevant agencies, networks, brands, etc., and then who's just completely just chancing it, just not at all relevant. Even when you took out the completely not relevant people, there was still like triple digits applications, and so we it reminded me of just how alive this industry is, and also how lucky we are to have access to so much talent. We're hiring for. We just actually completed 2 hires for salespeople, like partnerships people. Don't use sales in the affiliate world, do we? But I mean, like the names on the list of applicants were people we all knew. You knew, and I know this, but I worked with them on this. And equally, if they did a bad job, you're just like, okay. Reputation,
I mean, they might have changed 5 years on, but at the same time, it sticks with you. And so, reputation is equally. I'm sure there's many people out there that thinks like I'm a knob and whatever, and won't want to listen to me. But equally, like that's fine. I think that's also part of life, but also in the world of affiliate, you will disagree with people. We disagree with many people, clients even, but equally, like if you've both got a point, I think it's good to say, as I say, like especially in the event space, you can raise a point, and I think people will listen to it, feedback, and then try and make attempts to make everyone happy. If you're saying something and some people disagree and some people agree, then it means you're saying something real. Something thought-provoking, something authentic. The worst thing you can do, especially in marketing, which is a big thing, we have a belief in culturally confident marketing that is unapologetic. And trying to be a dick, like going back to that point, but still like don't try and please everyone. Then you end up with a sterile, safe brand voice that just means nothing. And so I think you said it last week. I was really flattered when you said it about our marketing from your perspective from the outside. That's exactly what we're aiming for. It's not to be provoking. It's just to have a stance and just have an identity. Stand for something. Plus, you know until you got some haters. That's true. I mean, funny enough, I think it was something also from like a micro level. A loaner who was on with you guys said, I got like a load of feedback. We did 360 feedback at Web Games about like management style and all that kind of stuff, and I got like nice scores, and I was like buzzing. Just like, don't be seen as too nice. You don't want too nice scores, because that actually also says that you're not doing maybe pushing enough, or And I was like, okay, I didn't really think about it like that. But I think same goes on a wider level when you're out in the affiliate world, isn't it? Really, or any world. I don't really care what world it is. I think same goes. Stand for something. Have something to share, something to say. I take ideas from everyone. You know, we even had like George, the Soul Supplier founder, him. Absolute legend. That's one of my favorite podcasts we've ever done. It just got unhinged. It was just like his energy on stage though when he speaks is brilliant. Really? Yeah, he did the Philly Fest, not Manchester one. Right. I was like, I think he did the wings challenge as well, like eating hottest wings you could get. And I was like, but his energy on LinkedIn even. Yeah, he's an absolute superb. G. I mean, he's an absolute G. But like we were debating stuff, and it was maybe some similar to topics to what we had today. And he was like, you know what, though, I disagree with that. And he was like, here's why. And he was like telling me his pitch, telling me his position. And at the end of it, I was like, you changed my mind. I was like, and that's also good if you can actually change your mind, not just stand on something and then not listen to anyone else. But then he did the same. I mean, he said, after we finished recording, we were talking about some of the stuff that we discussed. And he said, by the way, like something you guys said, it's got me looking at it from a whole different angle. I've never looked at it from that side before, like from the brand side, because he's a publisher, right? So he's got some hardcore views on being a publisher. And then he said, so I genuinely have like enriched my worldview on that, on the industry view. And that is because he stands by what he says, explains it. We stand by what we say, explain it. And that's a valuable exchange, valuable relationship. You know, versus just trying to please everyone. So that gives you a better view as well. right? So you can then actually go into a situation, potentially a new one, and go, actually, having listened to what George said,
Yes.
you've got a better rounded view of
Yes.
actually the situation rather than just coming from your angle, like similar to the event one, right? I'm sat there going, well, I want L'Oreal, I want Coca-Cola, I want these brands. But equally,
Matthew Wood's
it's not
saying,
my
well,
event.
yeah.
I'm not the one that's commercializing that event. So actually, everyone, pay to play. Them's the rules.
You only know
That's
your
not my business.
perspective, your interests, whereas like the Hello Partner guys, they know they've got the whole puzzle to put together.
Yeah.
No, totally. And I think the smartest people, and this is something Adam Ross said on the podcast, going back now 6 months or so, but it's stuck with me, which is that true effective leadership, good leaders, good people in business are curious.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time, it didn't really land with me that much. I was like, curious, interesting, cool. But then since then, I've heard the word a few more times. I've obviously listened back to the episode, and curiosity is one of the best traits you can have, because the opposite to curiosity is arrogance. I know everything. I'm not curious. I already know.
Mm-hmm.
Like George Sullivan yesterday, I heard his view, his take on what I was saying, disagreeing, trying to convince me why. And I'd gone, yeah, but that's just noise. I'm not open to changing my mind because I'm not curious.
Yeah.
Then I'm not enriched, and my opinion is now not sort of like better formed, and now more potent, more powerful.
It's a lack of ego.
Lack of ego,
as well.
And and I think a lot of people, I used to think this way, which was like, I guess being too curious meant that I was almost like flip flopping between how I thought and not having my own thoughts.
Yeah,
and so there's that balance. But actually, I think if you are able to just sit with it a little bit and then go, actually, okay, based on this, there's probably a middle ground, right? If you've got sort of like from both sides, it tends to sit in the middle as to what the actual truth might be. So if there's a truth, but
to use an affiliate term, it's about optimizing your viewpoints, taking in new information, and then sort of like working with it. For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to hit you with
some quick fire questions.
You
ready for it?
This. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. All right. Shall I kick off?
Yeah, go on.
Alrighty. What would your 12-year-old self say about who you have become today?
Bloody hell, that could go deep, couldn't it?
It's the point.
Sorry, what would my 12-year-old self say?
About who you've become today?
I think it'd be pretty buzzing, actually, to be fair. I'm trying to think. 12-year-old me would have been just going to secondary school, right? So I would have literally just started at Alter Grammar School. And I would have been panicking to make sure that I actually made something. So my mum and dad did a lot to make sure I went to a good school to then get to uni and then get a good job. So I think I'd be pretty happy with where I'm at.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. Yeah.
That segues me into here. What's the proudest moment of your career?
That's a really good question. So I think one of the first ones that always stands out was when I first joined WebGains. So I had obviously launched something new. There was two things. One was the first big client win, which was lounge underwear. Never done affiliate before. Birmingham. So just on that border of being northern, we'd call it Solihull being like the drawing line.
Birmingham's north, for the record.
Yeah. And believing actually that what I was doing was actually correct. Like that whole imposter syndrome was really real at that point. Never done sales, never done that. So that was one. And then moving into so having enough people, growing that team that big to then actually opening up an actual office. So rather than being in a WeWork, having our own space. I think there were two pretty major milestones from my point of view.
Nice. Are you a reader?
I'm a listener.
You're a listener.
Yeah, podcasts and audiobooks. I don't.
Okay, audiobooks. Okay, that works.
I don't have like the ability to sit and read for too long.
Same. Don't be ashamed. I'm the same. I still buy books, but I never read them. I buy them with the best intentions. I've got an amazing collection of like business books and self-help books. But then what happens is I just like to look at them.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to them on Spotify instead now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's me.
Got a friend. Friend is actually a client, Tim, who told me this hack, and I still haven't tried it, but he's like convinced this is like the massive hack. Get the book physical, get the audiobook, play it at a faster speed and read through while you're listening to it. I don't know why, but he said it helps the information just go in like every
audio and visual.
It's a weird hack. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't knock it, but it does sound ridiculous. Sorry, Sam.
So following that, is there a book or audiobook which has shaped your growth or decision making in your career and your work?
Actually, it is actually a book. So mentioned before we started, like my dad was always in retail, and then he used to have like all these books Like when I went to uni, he was like, you need to read these. And half of them, I was like, this is all just like old school 90s, like retail, whatever. But one was called Who Moved My Cheese or Who Stole My Cheese? And it was a book about mice in a trap almost. And they were going around a maze and they'd go to the cheese. And then one day it gets moved and how the different mice behaved. And the stupidity of that some mice doing the same thing every day, hoping the cheese was still there, and then others that would, and it just struck me as like growth mentality. Like, stop doing the same thing. If it's not working, do it enough to work out what's working, what's not, and then change it and think about things a little bit differently. So I think that's what's played a lot, especially at Sovendus. So much changes. We're growing so fast that certain growing pains can occur. And so, and this is why working with Pete and Verena, who's the head of account management, is so good, because there's a massive growth mentality around it. So like, let's not worry too much about the pains too much. Let's make sure that everyone's, fine and above board. But then let's look at how we can actually divert and actually pivot a little bit.
Cool, man. Be the mouse.
Yeah, be the mouse that doesn't keep going to the same shoes. Yeah.
Cool.
When was the last time you felt completely out of your depth?
Bloody hell. This weekend when I was doing a half marathon. Literally like 22k in, I was like, oh my God, I have to run 4 more after this. And I was like, I'm not feeling this. No, I think in a work capacity, when I first started at Sovendus and was like getting on calls with people that I knew, but didn't necessarily know Sovendus in enough depth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I could do with someone else on this call, just like handhold. And it was so good for my ego in that it kind of knocked me down a peg or two and was like, right, you need to go back to school a little bit here and just relearn things. And that's what really then got me onto more recently, like trying to help facilitate that in the affiliate space a little bit more, like bring that to people. So I'd say that. I sat in a pitch and thinking, oh my God, I don't know the answers.
Well, it's actually quite humbling. I say this as a salesperson myself, like to be calling up sort of like your black book when you start a new job, a new company. It's quite humbling anyway.
Yeah.
You're kind of coming in like, hey, it's me. I just want to listen, no pressure, but I just want to show you this thing.
Yeah.
So then also not know the product inside out as well. Like it's, like you say, double humbling.
Because you want to go in and impress.
Yeah.
You want to show like what they brought you in for.
Yes.
But equally, there's a massive sort of like ego bashing situation there for me in that role. Yeah.
What's the single biggest opportunity that most brands are missing out on right now?
Yeah, let's go monetization. No,
you can say that. Monetizing their checkout.
Yeah, whether that's it offering reciprocal rewards and therefore being able to promote themselves on other people's checkouts, or actually just seeing that hard cash coming in. I think the biggest brands are doing it. And I think what I would say is that there's always a disparity between like when you see a big brand do something, you think they're almost too far away from you, so that's for them to do. When actually, if you're a brand that does 10,000 checkouts a month or more, well, that's your bread and butter. This is something that you just sat on that shouldn't really be passed up on. So I'd say, yeah, obviously I've got a bit of bias here to say that, right? But I think that the reason I joined Sovendus from a company that I loved and built up literally my own business almost within a business was that opportunity to go, okay, this is big. Like when Pete first came to me, I was like, I'm not sure. Like voucher network, that sounds a bit not. And he said the same thing when he was approached by the CEO in Germany. He was like, oh, not sure. And you see it for what it is and you're like, okay, wow, this is blurring the lines a little bit between retail media and affiliate, but there's a huge opportunity there. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Love that, mate.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
Well, look, if anyone wants to connect with you, they can obviously come up and harass you at an event.
Yeah,
but they can also find you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
So they will look you up. They'll hit you up. And also, if anyone's listening to this and they've enjoyed this episode, but they're not subscribed, if they're on YouTube, they need to hit the subscribe. If they're on Spotify, they need to follow, because we're dropping a couple of episodes a month with guests like Jack and many others in the affiliate and e-commerce industry. So yeah, you've been an amazing guest.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot, man.
Cheers.
Thank you.